So, what could ancient gods and biblical prophets possibly have to do with your stock portfolio? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot. We're about to uncover this hidden and honestly fascinating link between mythological names and modern money. It's a story that starts with some really clever branding and ends with billions of dollars in some very, very unexpected hands.
Okay, I know this sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, right? On one hand, you have the ancient world of myth, and on the other, the super modern, high-tech business of healthcare. They feel like they're universes apart, but as you're about to see, they're actually connected, and it's totally on purpose.
And here's our first big clue. You know the Greek goddess Athena? She's the symbol of wisdom, of strategy. Well, there's this massive company that manages electronic health records, and they're called Athena Health. That is no accident. They are deliberately borrowing her reputation to signal, hey, we're smart, we're strategic.
And it absolutely does not stop there. Take Apollo, the Greek god of healing. So when you see a telehealth service pop up called Apollo 24/7, that branding is doing some heavy lifting. It's essentially borrowing a god's authority to make you trust a modern medical service. Pretty smart, right?
This whole strategy goes way beyond just Greek myths. Take the name Zion, the biblical promised land, a powerful symbol of destiny and hope. Well, there's an energy exploration company called Zion Oil and Gas, and they use that name to connect with investors who are drawn to that idea of prophecy and, divine purpose.
So yeah, this is not just a bunch of random coincidences. It's a really deliberate and incredibly powerful strategy. Companies are tapping into these ancient, timeless stories to give their modern brands a huge head start right out of the gate.
Okay, so let's break this down. From a pure marketing standpoint, why is this so ridiculously effective? What is it about these old stories that gives a modern company such a powerful edge in the market?
It really all comes down to psychology. These names give a brand instant recognition, so they don't have to build meaning from scratch. The stories are already there. They also come with this built-in trust. They're easy to remember. They give off this aspirational feeling, and they can even create an instant bond with certain communities. It is a marketing masterstroke.
But here is where the story takes a really sharp turn. Because this connection between religion, myth, and these companies, it goes so much deeper than just a clever name on a logo. There is a much, much bigger financial story playing out behind the scenes.
And this leads us to the real question, the billion-dollar question, literally. If all these companies are borrowing names from faith and myth, who is backing them with all this cash? The answer is probably not what you're expecting.
Believe it or not, some of the biggest shareholders are the world's most famous religious organizations. And we're not talking about just running charities here. They're operating massive, incredibly sophisticated investment funds that have huge influence on the market.
Okay, so now let's follow the money. We're going to go down the rabbit hole and trace these multi-billion-dollar faith-based funds to see just how deep their influence in our modern economy really runs.
First up, we've got Enzyme Peak Advisors. This is the highly successful and for a long, long time, very secretive investment arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the scale here, it is just staggering. I mean, just look at this number. According to their public filings, Ensign Peak is managing around $56.6 billion. And get this, that's just in publicly traded stocks. It's an immense amount of capital.
So where is all that money going? Well, their strategy is pretty clear. A full third of their portfolio is parked in technology, with other huge bets on healthcare and financial services. They are betting big on the absolute pillars of the modern economy.
And that connection to big tech is just undeniable. Their single largest holding is NVIDIA. After that, massive positions in Microsoft and Apple. This isn't just a small side investment. They are a powerhouse player in the tech world.
Okay, next up, we've got an index that was created in partnership with an organization you've probably heard of, the Vatican Bank. They've created their own benchmarks to guide investments based on Catholic principles.
And what do they like to invest in? Well, take a look. The top holdings here include Meta, Amazon, and, yep, there it is again, NVIDIA. So you're seeing a really significant overlap in strategy here, a big focus on those dominant, high-growth tech companies.
But hold on, not all faith-based investing is about these huge passive funds. There's another completely different approach, and it's led by one of the most surprising groups of shareholder activists you will ever meet.
Okay, this is truly fascinating. There is a monastery of just 80 Benedictine nuns in Kansas, and they have filed over 350 shareholder resolutions. See, by owning even a tiny amount of stock, they get the legal right to challenge a company's policies at the highest level, and they are masters at using that right.
And they are not afraid to take on the giants. We're talking about them pushing Amazon on lobbying, Google on AI oversight, Chevron on human rights, and Big Pharma on drug prices. Their focus is completely on ethics and social impact.
And this quote from Sister Rosemary Stahlbaumer, it just gets right to the heart of it all. While the big funds are focused on financial returns, the nuns are focused on wages, fairness, labor issues. As she says, for them, it's the human element.
So after seeing the branding strategy, the huge funds, the activist nuns, what does all of this actually mean for a business today? What are the big takeaways from this really complex picture?
Well, it raises some super critical questions for any business out there. You have to think about the fit. Does the name even make sense? Is it recognizable? But now you also have to consider this deeper alignment. Are your business's ethics actually in line with the promise of your brand's name? Because as we've just seen, a very powerful class of investors, from massive funds to passionate activists, is paying very close attention.
So here's the crucial point. A name carries weight. It carries history and meaning. It's a promise you make to your customers. But as we've seen today, for a growing number of incredibly powerful investors, that name, it's also the beginning of an investment thesis.